and soothsaying and casting spells on my people, that the words that they are hearing, soothing words, lullabying them to sleep. Yeah, that's what you told me yesterday. Everyone is not of your father, and I see reptilians, and you're telling me this will be known of, and you're telling me shapeshifters indeed. And you're so, an explosion of my glory will be seen and felt soon in the atmosphere. I hear reptilian bodies, but what I was seeing was Erica Kurt with slits in her eyes, like, you know, those snake eyes? And I don't know why. Okay, now you're showing me the word doppelganger. Say everything hidden will be exposed. Why do I hear twins? What? I hear twins. Does Erica Kirk have a twin? Everything hidden will be exposed. Huh. And you're telling me doppelgangers indeed. And oh my God, you're showing me clones. Clones, not of I am. Oh my, I see like Eminem. Remember Eminem, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? He's showing me will the real Erica Kirk please stand up, basically. And he's showing me how Eminem had many clones in that video. And now I'm thinking, were they trying to tell us something about clones?
I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up, please stand up. Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up, please stand up.
Whoa. He said there's much more to this matter than you know of. And what are they not telling you? Doppelgangers. And he wants me to look into what are doppelgangers. Because I still really don't even know what that means. And you're telling me you will be surprised. And okay, now you're telling me get to work. Yes, Lord. Aye, aye, Captain.
He said, I'm showing you who Erica Kirk is. Oof. I see doppelgangers. I see clones. And stories untold of yet. And you have much to learn. He's showing me again Eminem and the Slim Shady and the many what do you call them? Martinis in the room? Many clones in the room. And now he's showing me Jeffrey Epstein. And he was a clone too? And he's telling me that I only know in part. And he's telling me doppelgangers and secret societies. He said, what are they doing with their DNA? They're making clones with our DNA. And this is why people have doppelgangers, is what he literally just said. It reminds me of us doing those swab tests, right? And sending our DNA to do things to see what our ancestry line is. You know, when we swab our, oh boy. I see bloodline and I see genetics. Okay, he just said, who are they searching for? And I saw the 144,000 that are in the book of Revelations, and those are the 12 tribes. He just said heritage and the lineage. And I hear doppelgangers. He's reminding me how the enemy does nothing new. Like, if there's, and this is what I'm thinking, if there's an antichrist, right, and he mimics God in every way, why wouldn't he have an evil 144,000? And no wonder if there would be doppelgangers, bro. That's crazy. That is crazy. Seha. He just said lineage and tribe. Do they want to steal inheritance? That's what it seems like. He said splicing and dicing indeed and genetics, and he's showing me Netanyahu again. And he's saying, what are they doing in the background? And now I see reptilians, and I hear reptilian blood. Now he's showing me Macron. Everything hidden will be exposed. He's reminding me of the days of Noah. For the Lord. Ooh, he said a great flood indeed, but it's a flood of his glory to combat what the enemy is doing. And he said, my end time revival will come forward, and my people must pray and fast like never before. For truths are being spoken out of your mouths when you declare my word back to me. My promises I keep, and my words will not come back void.
So, yeah, that's one piece of the story. And the other piece of the story, while the mainstream media right now is focused on Trump making fun of Caitlin Collins, and they're like cleverly editing that video, leaving out the full context of it, by the way, they're totally ignoring the crazy revelations in the Epstein files. And honestly, this one stops you in your tracks. The emails show Jeffrey Epstein was openly working on cloning and building designer babies, gene editing. As far back as 2018, he was mapping it out in emails as a funding opportunity. In one email chain, researcher Brian Bishop sends Epstein a detailed plan to basically move from, quote, garage biology to the first. So was it garage biology, the stuff they're doing in the tunnels? We know that Epstein had a full, almost like hospital level amount of equipment at his facility on Epstein Island. So we're going to move from garage biology to the first live birth of a genetically modified human being within 5 years. Openly discussing this back and forth with Epstein, with a price tag of nearly $10 million to do this. And then Epstein's response is like totally casual, no concern at all in these emails. It's like, oh, no rush. Like, you're working on this. No rush. Thanks. No rush, get it right, no rush at all. Attached is the document he requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. This gets us out of our self-funded garage biology phase to the first live birth of a human designer baby and possibly a human clone within 5 years. No rush. Once we reach the first birth, everything changes and the world will never be the same again. Much less the future of the human species. I'm happy to hop on another call. So, I mean, they really believe like they're going to be able to pull this off at scale. And then, of course, what does that mean for, not bringing in out? See, one of the big problems is bringing in like outside babies, right? Babies you're getting from adoption clinics, babies, children that you're getting from, sex trafficking operations, which obviously then that can lead to the FBI. That can lead to all sorts of problems. But if you're like cloning babies on your island, I mean, it sounds like a freaking James Bond story. Worse. Yeah, you're cloning babies so that you can sexually abuse them, and then no one's going to miss them because no one knows they exist. It gets worse. The emails ask about how to work around U.S. laws. So they're openly discussing, Brian Bishop and Jeffrey Epstein, about how they can just get around U.S. laws here. It basically confirms they need to skirt U.S. laws, partnering with overseas clinics where regulations are looser, he says. Medical tourism, foreign labs, basically jurisdiction shopping. Basically, how do we pull this off without getting shut down? Because you see Jeffrey in the middle there. We need to get a read on legal first. Can't do anything where U.S. rules apply to U.S. citizens regardless of where. It's such a great subject. What type of investors have you been talking to? Because he talks about being in Tokyo, and he got some bites from people that are interested in investing in this. Wouldn't it be interesting to find out which investors were openly ready to throw their money behind Epstein and human cloning? Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of that. Again, Todd Blanche, maybe we could figure out who's ready to do that.
It's fine if they're not men. We'll just take the names. That's okay. If you're really invested in connecting with protecting men.
Yeah. Well, and the timing matters on all of this because this was happening the same year that China announced the human embryo gene editing. And right before, by the way, the world found out about the CRISPR babies. One email even mentions moving toward an embryo editing method more similar to cloning. There's no proof that Epstein ever successfully cloned anyone, to my knowledge. If you have it, please share it. Maybe Todd Blanche and his crack staff knows if they actually managed to pull this off. But I mean, he said 5 years. That was 2018. Of course, he was found dead in 2019, or allegedly found dead in 2019, or he's still alive somewhere. Who knows exactly? So I don't think he had all the time to really feel this out. But what is clear is that he was financially and intellectually involved in this process, with people actively trying to genetically engineer babies, clone human beings, and then, I mean, I would just have to say, Occam's razor here, and then have your way with them.
Well, yes. And in the context of, there are separate tranche of emails where he's exploring the idea of starting sex tourism companies. So, you know how you can go on what other kind of tourism, like birth tourism, or let's think of some that's on the up and up. I don't know, like leaf peeping. Like, can we, you know, start a company of tourism, but only for perverts? And then they go to a place where no international law applies. So in the context of this, if they could make the babies, get the babies to a lawless place, and then get their customers there as well, can we get them visas? This is the vision, right? Is that we grow you things to abuse and get you there. I've not seen anybody make this leap before, but it's abundantly clear now that you make these documents plain that that was the dream. That was where this was going, and there are people alive who still want that. Well,
and arguably why he was so interested in Ukraine. Of course, we've cataloged here on the show repeatedly about the child sex trafficking operations, the baby operations, the baby centers, the baby making factories inside of Ukraine. Deeply, deeply disgusting is the country of Ukraine and how corrupt those individuals are. So, and as Annie in our chat room says, genetic modification is legal in Ukraine. USAID funded 30 and more biolabs in Ukraine, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
So all of that to say, Epstein was open to this. He was talking about it in private emails back in 2018. And so, you know, how much more stuff is hidden in there, we don't know.
There are so many directions that we could run into with the Epstein emails, but there's something that popped up that is very interesting to me. The 23andMe emails, the elites sending one another kits. Jeffrey Epstein, I'll show you two of them. First and foremost, to Woody Allen. Woody Allen, that entire background story that Hollywood just accepts him is absolutely crazy to me. I'm glad that is being relitigated regarding what he did to his own child when she was 7, but allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But look at this email that Jeffrey Epstein authored to Woody. It says, the 23andMe kits arrived and will be delivered to Woody and Soon-Yi to their home today. So I don't know who this actually went to, but he was getting this kit out to Woody Allen. And there's another email, this time to, who is this? They're always blocking out the names, but it says, hi, Sultan, can you please tell me who James Miller is? He is who you have billed the 30 kits to. Also, do I understand the shipping address is Jeffrey's home at 9 East 71st Street? We're talking about 23andMe kits. Do you guys remember that trend, by the way? For some reason, they came out and they told everybody, this is going to be amazing. Don't you want to know where you're from? As if they don't know where we're from. They're the ones that are trafficking people all over the world. We can help you. Just send us your DNA. And a lot of people did it. A lot of my friends did it. I was already like, seems a little suspect. It's a bit suspicious. I'm not going to do it at all. Well, interestingly enough, that particular project, 23andMe, or that particular business, also began shortly following our invasion into Iraq. I'll tell you why this matters, okay? So we invaded, as I mentioned yesterday, mid-2003, and we extracted Gilgamesh's tomb, roughly 2 years later. Well, in 2005, the now bankrupt company, 23andMe, came together where people began sending in those DNA kits to figure out their ancestry. I want you to park that in your mind as we revisit our military's strange efforts in the Middle East. I mentioned to you guys this man named Rob Skiba yesterday. He wrote a book entitled Babylon Rising. This came to me from an email tip. It was immediately interesting. Well, this man, it is alleged, was actually murdered for some of the research and the pieces that he were putting together because he was perhaps getting too close to the ultimate project of the elites. By the way, his son emailed me yesterday thanking me for bringing up his father and grateful that his father's work is still carrying on. I've not had time to email him back, but I did receive that email, and I know that you are watching. And I'm also grateful that the work that your father did is getting new meaning. Anyway, I started watching this speech that his father, Rob Skiba, gave on the topic of his book, Babylon Rising. I explained to you that all of the elites are obsessed with Babylon, and any research that I do, it's all about Babylon, Babylon, Babylon. And I want to share to you some of these clips. It's Rob Skiba, and he's speaking about his book. Now, to tee this up, let's just get into a little bit of the history. He is positing a lot about the Tower of Babel. Obviously, we know this was built up, that this angered God. And Rob Skiba posits that it wasn't actually the height of the tower that was problematic. He believes that, well, Rob Skiba posits, he's like, I don't think it was because the tower was high. We know that he built this to get back to heaven. He thinks that actually this tower that was being built was a technology because they wanted to get back into the heavenly realm. Now, if you have read Gilgamesh, there is a lot of astrotheology that's in it, stargates. We know that the elites worship stars. We've covered that extensively. Well, in this particular clip, you're going to see Rob Skiba discuss the Book of Enoch, the one that I mentioned to you, going back to the beginning, the story of fallen angels. And he brings up something that is of geographical interest. Take a listen.
Extra biblical texts, like the Book of Enoch and others, that go into more detail about what happened in Genesis 6. The Book of Enoch says that 200 fallen angels, a class of angels known as the Watchers, landed in this location right here. This is the center of a mountain range in southern Lebanon known as Mount Hermon. Now keep your eye right there as the camera pulls back and just kind of look at the outline of the topography right there. It's very interesting that it actually forms the shape of a goat. And one of the worst of the fallen angels was one by the name of Azazel. And Azazel is always associated with the goat. And you see that in Leviticus chapter 16. The scapegoat is in reference to Azazel. I find it interesting that the land itself actually kind of looks like a goat head. This gentleman depicted here is David Flynn. He recently passed away, but he turned the world upside down with some of his research, and he was able to figure out that location is 33.33 degrees north by 33.33 degrees east from the Paris prime meridian. Very interesting. What's 1/3 of 100? 33.3333%, right? How interesting that the fallen angels that participated in what I call the Genesis 6 experiment landed on the geographical location that fits their number on the crosshairs of 33.33. Something else David Flynn pointed out is that if you put a little marker there, and you can do this for yourself, that what I showed you there is from Google Earth. I did it for myself to check it out. But you can put a marker there and then draw a line from there to the Paris prime meridian. We go by Greenwich today, but originally it was the Paris was kind of the standard for a long time there. And that is, in the occult, is referred to as the devil's line.
So something that is a fact is that the elites are obsessed with goat heads, Baal worship. None of this is a conspiracy. Jeffrey Epstein worked for the Rothschilds. You were looking at a picture of the Rothschilds at their surrealist ball. The more research you do, you just sort of see this appearance over and over again of goat heads. Even if you get into Pan worship, Dionysus, all of these, occult, orgiastic cults that they've had since the beginning of time, so to speak. And just to give you guys a biblical recap, I should never assume. I know a lot of people are kind of now just going to church or just starting to pick up a Bible. So I can back this up for you. The story of man, just so you guys know, you're not an ape. You can throw away that chart. The biblical recap here. Satan is struck down by the archangel St. Michael after a battle of good versus evil in heaven. Because Satan is leading this rebellion against God. The rebellion fails. He is obviously expelled. And as a result, he no longer has access to God. This is our true history, our true heritage. This is what actually happened. Like I said, you're not a monkey. That middle school chart stuff, here's what happened. And then you were like, the Australopithecus. And then it was a Homo sapien. That's just nonsense, quote unquote, science. Now, these fallen angels, so to speak, also known as demons, then mate with humans. They produce Nephilim, giants, and their demonic pursuit never actually ends. They are still seeking to triumph God. So that enters in the story of Nimrod and him building this Tower of Babel as a return to heaven. So like I said, the biblical story is that as Nimrod is constructing this tower, God confuses language amongst the people, forcing them to abandon the project because they can't communicate with one another. So can't speak, we can't build this tower. So Ron Skiba's theory, if you're suspending, again, theological debate for a moment, I'm just telling you because we're looking into what he is saying the elites are after. His theory is that at the moment that occurred, once languages were confused, Nimrod became known as different names. Baal, Tammuz, Gilgamesh. And like I said, he is positing this. You can see this whole list: Dionysus, Bacchus. Yes, there is synergy between those cults and the practices, without question, historically speaking. Now, he's discussing this because he believes that the elites view Nimrod and or Gilgamesh as the Antichrist that they are working to try to resurrect for exactly that reason.
Spoken from my glory. Oh my goodness. And it's up next. You reminded me of the dream that I had last night. I had a dream last night that somebody had embryos. And it was like a meeting or in an auditorium. This person put these, so that she was like, yeah, these are my embryos. And they were shaking this thing. And by the time I woke up, I knew that she was saying that she felt like the dragon was eating her or killing her or something like that from these embryos that she had. And he's saying newer technology. And he said the serpent lies and snares, and what are they really doing behind the scenes with those embryos and embryo research? Taking DNA out of the strands. And I hear feminine power indeed. What? City, my issue. What is heresy? I heard heresy. And I hear newer technology. And I am the life. Say it again. I am the strand of life force within, or something like that. And I hear newer embryos and breeding witchcraft. Are they cloning embryos? Can you do that? I think they're cloning embryos, and they're making a new breed out of these cloned embryos. And then I see CERN, but whose sperm are they putting it with? Seria Roma-ish CERN. I hear open doors in the Hadron Collider. And what are they using to pull forces through? A new breed, not of God. I wonder if they're mingling something else with the embryos besides sperm. Demonic seed, he just said. And I hear Nephilim. How are they getting demonic seed, Lord? What? I hear reptilian blood and what's in it. And then I hear witchcraft, and you will see this soon spread throughout the land.
Gilgamesh is said to be part God, part man. Jesus is God and man, right? Well, there's a similarity there. The Epic of Gilgamesh says that he was 1/3 man and 2/3 God. What's 1/3 of 100? 33.33%. What's 2/3? 66.6%. Interesting. And the 1/3 part of man, we are carbon-based organisms, right? The carbon molecule has 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. So just by default, the number man would be 666 by virtue of the carbon molecule. But this guy's got 6s all over him. Look up CERN. It's a very interesting facility. Look at this thing. The thing's huge. It's the Hadron Super Collider. Their stated objective is to recreate the Big Bang. Now, I don't believe in evolution myself, but I remember them teaching me evolution in school, and they said we got here from a Big Bang, right? So if we got here according to the way you think, and you want to, by a Big Bang, and you want to recreate the Big Bang, that can't be a good thing. They're trying to find the God particle. You know, what in the world are these guys doing? Look at their logo. It looks like 3 6s on top of each other. And everybody wants to talk about the separation of science and religion, right? They're usually, it seems like they're like this, right? You know, they're diametrically opposed. Well, it's interesting that all these scientists and people working over there on CERN decide to put the religious statue of the Hindu god Shiva outside the front door. Shiva is the god of destruction. They put the god of destruction, a huge statue dancing, looks like it's coming through a portal.
Like I said, you guys, please don't email me about whether or not you agree with him presenting this. Last time when I mentioned the Shiva Dionysus thing, people were like, no, Shiva is not Dionysus. There's so many books on that say that that's what it is. And they are written by people that are Hindu. You guys can disagree amongst yourselves. I am just fascinated trying to get to the bottom of what it is that the elites believe. And it is just a fact that they do have that Shiva structure at CERN. CERN is obviously evil. I showed you guys the video of what they were doing, this ritual. These are quote unquote scientists that are dressed up in robes, stabbing someone, and they never gave an answer for this. Somebody caught them, recorded this, and they're like, oh, that was a joke. No further questions, no further answers. Shut this down. Something much deeper is going on here, something much more demonic.
Hey
Hey guys, this video is brought to you by Glory Changers. Go and check out the Glory Changer store where you can get these bracelets that say Jesus, Yeshua, Adonai. There's many different bracelets for men and women. I do pray, decree, and declare and release the anointing over each bracelet that I make. Each bracelet is made with love, and whatever the Lord has me decree and declare onto it for the person who will receive it, because he knows all things. Glory Changers, from glory to glory. Come and check out the Glory Changers store.